Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Okay, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.
Good evening and welcome. You just heard a new video from my attorney, Vincent Davis, giving a brief introduction. He has lots of things going on where he gives us his time, and I want to thank Mr. Davis. He's a family juvenile dependency attorney. He's been doing this for 39 years, fighting CPS. He's been doing it a long time. And I want to warmly welcome you to my room. If you've been here before, you're my family. I think of everybody that comes in here like family. You've been struggling with your case, and you've been fighting an entity that I call the Child Protection System, CPS. Now, Mr. Davis has a Saturday podcast where he gives you insights and questions, answers about a CPS case. So mark on your calendar, it's 9:30 every Saturday. He also has office hours where he gives questions and answers. And you really should join the school. It's free, and you have to register with these podcasts in advance. Now, I have a number on the screen right now called 888-888-6582. That's the law offices of Vincent W. Davis and Associates. If you want to retain Mr. Davis as your attorney, you call that number and you'll talk to the office staff. Tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And when you do talk to Vincent Davis, tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And you can go ahead and hire him and pay the retainer. That's one way. But that number is there for other legal needs you may need. You may have legal needs regarding immigration or regarding real estate or bodily injury or something happened at the workplace, a divorce, criminal activity. So he has all these attorneys working for him. So you should just call into that number, 888-888-6582. Now, this is an interactive podcast. What I mean by that, there are 4 ways you can interact with this podcast. One of the first ways that you're in this room, you can do emojis, like thumbs up, hearts, happy faces, also stars. You can send me stars. Please check below to follow me. And if you want to be notified when I'm on, please check below also for that. Now, I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week. I come on at 10 o'clock, typically a.m. in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. Then I come on again at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I do that twice a day, and I've been doing that for over a year. I have over 700 shows I've done. They're all recorded. You can look at them all. And I've talked to over 600 people. And I've talked to people from around the world because this podcast is broadcast internationally. People that have CPS cases are welcome here. And I do have countries. I have 18 countries right now, from Bangladesh to India to the Middle East to Africa to Europe to North America and beyond. Hold on one second here. I want to talk to my son just coming in. Good. All right, I'm back. I am broadcasting from my home, so I have family. And I'm a family man. I have 8 children. Excuse me, I have 6 children. Was a family of 8, but I've lost a couple of my children. Now I'm down to a family of 4. That's a mom and a dad and my 2 sons. I have over 42 years of marriage experience, so I know how to raise kids and I know about a lot of life skills in there. But I too had misfortune of being down and out and caught up with CPS. They actually attacked me in Orange County. It was really a strange way that they did so. Really a strange way. I'm going to put a banner up that tells you another way that you can interact with this podcast by text me a message. I want to say welcome to Betty. Good evening, Betty, and welcome. And you've been on before. Now, I believe that Betty is from Merced County, California. Hopefully I'm right. We have a lot of Merced County people. We have about 5 of them that have called in. And that's in California, it's Northern California. I blew it, Betty. You're from Montana. I tried. Okay, yeah, she's from Montana up north. Okay. I think you had a case that was in Nebraska. Is that what it was? You're living in Montana and you have a case in Nebraska. There I go. I have so many people. It gets hard to remember them all, but I'm so glad you're here, Betty. And I just show the second way of interacting with this podcast by sending me, as you're doing, Betty, is texting me comments. For one of you new people that I don't quite know, I appreciate your first name, the city or county you're from, and your state. And if you're from out of the United States in some country, or you're in your province too. Also try to be complete with your CPS case. Now, third way to interact with this podcast is to be a guest on my podcast. I can take up to 9 people, 10 people totally, including me. And that means you can talk just like I am, see all the comments, help people that come into the room, and so forth. So if you want to do so, all you do is pick one of my show times. Now remember, it's Monday through Sunday, twice a day, morning and evening. So you can email my show producer, Grace. And I want to thank Grace for what she does. You just email her that you want to be on Bob's podcast, let's say the Wednesday morning show or the Friday evening show. You tell her that. She'll take care of the rest. She'll give you a link and tell you what to do and what not to say and so forth. So you just email her at grace@vincentwdavis.com. It's up on the screen. It's grace@vincentdavis.com. grace@vincentwdavis.com. Now, the last way you can interact with the podcast is to call my phone number. And that's my phone number, 626-698-0990. Betty further says, let me go ahead and see that up there. When the guardian of light for the children petitions, the child comes to a biological family. Does the judge usually go with what the guardian of light says if one attorney is agreeing to the same? You got to be careful right now. The guardian of light is like CASA, which is a court appointed. Or it's like the ombudsperson. They're friends of social workers. I don't know why the guardian of light would be involved in a petition to a biological family. Now, I'm looking that up right now, guardian of light. Okay, let's see what it says now. The guardian of ad litem. Okay, we got someone calling in. Good evening. Good evening.
Hello?
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Hi.
I'm sorry, say that again. Can you turn down your background of me a little bit so I can hear you?
Yes.
Now, who am I talking to?
Oh, this is Kimberly from Illinois.
Oh, hi, Kimberly. Now, there's several Kimberlys in Illinois. I hope I'm talking to the one that talked last night.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure because there is several Kimberly. I think.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What do you get from being on this show? What do you get in return from Mr. David?
You might want to call it Bangladesh compensation, but what I get from the show is talking to you people.
Yeah, why do you do it?
And why I do this? Because somehow I've made myself like a family. I've been doing this for a year. And I've talked to so many of you that have been down and out, and I was down and out. I wish someone was there to help me. I got a hold of Mr. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You want to help people. You don't want to promote Mr. David in any way.
Well, no, I am promoting him by talking about him because he does a valuable service because I hired him to defend me. And he's defended a lot of other people, and he's out there. I don't know of too many other attorneys that will have additional podcasts with no money.
Well, he has you to do that podcast for him, and then you.
Well, no, he has podcasts every Saturday at 9:30. He'll talk on a special Zoom meeting about his insights, their questions and answers. He has another podcast called Office Hours. And he'll talk. Why do you ask?
No, because, as broken as fucked up as this scam system is and how many children, it's outrageous how many children are child trafficked based upon not having money, education, or understanding of the law. They are trafficked from those very good parents, and they destroy these good parents by putting them on these registries and doing all this stuff because they don't have the money for an actual attorney that will fight for them. And this entire process is fucking corrupt. And how they go about it, like you don't even get to do discovery. You don't know what's going on. You just lose your children. You have no clue. In the meantime, you're a good parent. You love your children. These are our children. These are our future. These are children. I'm not talking about doing a prison sentence for a criminal charge. I'm talking about you have less rights in a parental custody battle with DCFS than you do have in a criminal case. And you should have more rights. We all know this. This is not a secret. It's not a secret that DCFS harms children. It's not a secret that DCFS trafficking children. It's not a secret that it's about money, education. And if you just don't fucking have it, so you're a good parent, you lose your children. And these children, nobody's looking at these children. These children are hurt.
Well, there's 500,000. There are
biological family.
Right.
And we have attorneys out there that'll take civil action on cases with no money down. And they'll take civil action and take the case just for free consultations. And Mr. Davis, he charges consultation and he demands a lot of money. And the problem with this system is if you actually cared about the actual problem with this fucking system, it's about the poor, ignorant people in the world that cannot defend themselves, that are very good parents and should have never lost their children.
I agree, but
poor,
let me tell you.
You're poor. You can't afford Mr. Davis. You can't afford any other attorney And, I wish I could see attorneys out there that actually gave a fuck about what was actually happening, not advertise that.
Kimberly, can we use another word? Can we use
word.
another word, Kimberly, than that 4-letter word? I like to keep my show with decent words. I think I'm not saying that as a bad word, but it's not proper for the show.
I would like to see actions speak louder than words. I would like to see attorneys actually care.
I think a lot of attorneys do.
More about the actual cause, about the children, about these good people, the civil rights of people being violated, because it's horrific. Yeah. It's horrific, the degree that my rights have been violated.
Yeah.
It's horrific.
Right. Well, first of all, Vincent, first of all, Vincent's been doing this for 39 years, and I can tell you right now that he has lost a lot of money because he gives away so much free time. The other day, I had a listener that talked just like you did, Kimberly, and arranged a time for him to talk to him for free for 15 minutes. He talked for 3 hours with that person.
Talking to us for free does not teach us how to draft those documents.
No, but talking for 3 hours does. I know that for a fact.
No, it doesn't. You're not going to get a law degree in 3 hours.
No. And I'm trying to tell you, he'll give you insights. He has gone out of his way so much to give so much money that his books, anyway, a lot of people owe him a lot of money. A lot of people owe him a lot of money. And he has defended the people out there.
Sure they do.
And I can tell you right now, it's a lot of money. And so to say that Mr. Davis, how much he's paying me, he has paid me very little money. It's called Bangladesh wages. He pays me, I normally work at $150 an hour or $5,000 a week. I'm nowhere even near that. I'm below minimum wage in California. So I do this because I care. And I am looking for a career job again to work. I'm 75 years old, and not too many places are offering me work because I normally make $225,000 a year in my line of work. And I had that job up until 2010 when I lost it through no fault of my own. And I was at the crossroads whether to sue the state of California for holding my $53 million of public funds that was awarded to me for contract work. But they needed the money because they're going to go bankrupt. And my owner said, I cannot afford to spend $50,000 to sue somebody to get $50,000 to get $53 million back. I mean, he just couldn't come up with that. So I had to bail on my industry.
People can't, so our children are lost.
No, they're not lost. In fact, I've been brainstorming. I've come across something that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know if you listened to the news recently, but AI is something new. Well, what's happened now, there's a dark side of AI because AI is now doing porn. And what they're doing now, there's individuals that can get these software programs, take the face shots of people from Facebook, put them on these adult actors, the porn stars' bodies, and make into movies and sell them. What happened is the mother told about how she was on a dating site, met somebody, the date didn't work out, and he retaliated by selling her pictures of AI-generated porn pictures, and then people were seeing them and recognizing the face and giving her a hard time. So what happened was, it's one of many cases. There's more than one case right now. What happened is they made a law that's been passed by the Senate, not by the House of Representatives yet. It was 100% approved that said within 48 hours, they must take the material off the internet. and there's some other situations to it. But they somehow got Congress and the senators to pass it. After the senators, it goes to representatives, and the representatives are supposed to pass it. So I said, why can't we do something like that? Why can't we make a new law in CPS, lobby and petition the senators, and change it, change the CPS system? For instance, we need to have it that all workers have to be educated. They should have a degree in social work, and they should have a minor in clinical psychology. They should have a license that is renewable every 5 years, that they have to keep their...
Betty Wilderhold said, when the guardian ad litem for the child petitions to cut the child to come to the biological family, does the judge usually go with the guardian ad litem says if one attorney is agreeing to the same? Well, Betty, from my experience, and I've had about 5 DCFS cases in 3 different states. I don't even know where you're from, but I'll tell you this. A guardian ad litem is generally a golden ticket, but it does not necessarily mean that the judge is going to rule on that. It all depends on what the other attorneys have to present in the argument against that biological placement. So, I mean, if I were you, I would, you have one attorney that's agreeing to the same placement. You have a guardian ad litem that is agreeing to that placement. But what is the opposing attorney going to argue in that placement?
Why is the guardian ad litem given any preferences in court? In California, the guardian ad litem is like the CASA. It's a court-appointed PAL.
Yeah, it is, and they're the most crucial person in the case.
Yeah, I don't understand how they would have the power. Yeah, they don't have the power. They're actually ears for CPS. They're ears for CPS, and they're not to be trusted.
They do the groundwork for the judge for the best interest of the child, and that is what an entire case would hinder on. That does not mean they are acting in the best interest of the child, and another attorney may have an argument raised to the judge that would draw concern for the placement being with biological family in your case.
Yeah, I'd like to say hello to Michelle Porter, who just came on, and she says, love you all, and be well and be strong. Well, thank you, Michelle Porter. And I think she is from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm getting so bad with people. We have on the phone right now Kimberly from Illinois, who's talking about, I guess, attorneys, whether there are whether the problem is that there's a statute of your constitutional rights that said any legal matter, you must, if you can't afford an attorney, the court must appoint one. Now, since being involved in CPS is a legal matter, they're going to appoint one. The problem being is CPS controls the court-appointed attorneys. They pick attorneys fresh out of law school that do not have a dependency juvenile family background. Their background is criminal.
Hey, Bob, I have an attorney that has a dependency background, but, he's in the politics. My judge, who's corrupt, has appointed him. Oh, he couldn't wait to appoint him. He just jumped right at that date. But I'll tell you, he hasn't done anything in my case. And here's the thing. I have motion to pro se. I have filed an 80 RC, a complaint on the judge, or on the attorney. And I shoved him valid proof where he said he was going to file something that needed to be filed, and he had it drafted back in August. He still has not filed it. What are we, going into January now? I haven't even gotten a court date in 4 months, and he hasn't motioned for anything. Basically, he's completely malpracticed my case. I've proven my case in malpractice. But you know what? He gets to stay on my case. And generally, when you do a complaint on an attorney due to the bias, he's not allowed to remain on your case. But, there's corruption in these systems. And, like I said, it all comes down to if you can afford an attorney. And it's not just any fucking attorney. You got to get somebody that is like Mr. Davis. You got to get somebody that's like Mr. Davis from way out where that knows his law, and money talks. Money talks to Mr. Davis, and Mr. Davis talks to the judge.
Well, first of all, Mr. Davis is not one of those rich, fat lawyers. And believe me, I know his financial background quite well because I did a lot of work for him when I worked in his office. And I know his financial records quite well. And he's not making the money that other attorneys are. There's been so many attorneys.
No, probably not, because they don't get paid until you get paid.
Well, I've yet to meet a attorney that will work without pay. The attorneys I met that will work.
That's 99% of the attorneys out there, for everybody that's listening. 99% of the attorneys that are going to do a civil lawsuit don't get paid until you get paid. Because they evaluate your case for free, and then they assess whether or not they actually have a valid.
Not in CPS. Not in CPS. Not in CPS. Maybe there are ambulance chaser attorneys that will go after people with auto accidents and fabricate injuries and get millions of dollars from insurance companies. But you're talking about the animal.
Well, isn't that what you would be doing in a CPS case when you have your own therapist hired in to?
Well, that is on the CPS side. That's not. That is on the CPS side. The CPS has all their hands on all those devices. They want parents to use court-appointed attorneys. They want their children to use court-appointed attorneys. They want you to use their doctors, their mental institution, because they want you to found that you're mentally unfit to take care of your children, and that you really hold on one. Hold on, Kimberly. Yeah. Hold on, Kimberly. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. This is Bob Pace. Who's this?
Bob.
This is Betty?
Yes.
Well, I have Kimberly on the phone. I'll ask Kimberly if she want to get off and you can get on, okay?
That sounds great.
Hold on. It looks like I lost Kimberly. I'm back again. I think I lost Kimberly. I tried to tell her to go on hold. Go ahead, Betty. Go ahead.
Well, I was just asking if the guardian ad litem is the baby's attorney, if she is agreeing to have placement of the child and one other attorney agreeing with the placement of the child, and DPHS is also agreeing with
the guardian ad litem is a volunteer person that tries to be pals with people. They're not attorneys, and what they do is they're big ears, and they're ears for CPS. They don't work for the judge; they work for CPS. And
right, but she's agreeing with what the caseworker wants to be done. The caseworker wants the child to be placed with family.
But I understand that. But what does the guardian ad litem have in the court structure is what I'm trying to understand.
She is the baby's advocate.
Right.
The child's advocate.
They're just an advocate, meaning that they're not the child's attorney. The child has an attorney. They have a court appointed. The court appointed attorney is not called the guardian ad litem. The guardian ad litem is just like CASA. It's a volunteer person that is supposed to take the child out to eat. Like my son had a CASA. And even after the case was over in 2015, this individual still like to take my son out. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hello. Did I lose you, Kimberly?
Yeah.
I tried to put you on hold because Betty called in. So I can only talk to one person at a time. So do you want to let Betty talk now, or do you want to talk some more, Kimberly?
No, Betty can talk, but I would think you should reference what a guardian ad litem is.
Well, what is a guardian ad litem in your eyes? What is a guardian ad litem?
Yeah. Are appointed, and they're just volunteers, and some are actual attorneys. Like in my state of Illinois, they are licensed attorneys to represent the best interest of the child.
Well, I think there's a conflict of interest. I think there is. I don't think a guardian ad litem should have any business in a courtroom, any business, because all they do.
Guardian ad litem has every bit of a business. The guardian ad litem is supposed to be a non-biased party that is to represent the best interest of the child.
But they're not.
Groundwork for the judge.
But they're not.
And they go out and they meet that child.
They don't
speak on what is in the best interest of the child. They're non-biased.
No, they're not non-biased. In California, they're not. I know that firsthand experience.
Well, I'm not saying, no, I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
Oh.
I mean, they may not be. There's corruption in every aspect of
right.
The
they're like CASA. We don't call them guardian ad litem. We call them CASA here in California.
Let us break him as a CASA. And, if I was standing with if I actually had an appointed CASA worker, it would be different than an actual appointed guardian ad litem.
Okay.
According to Illinois law, guardian ad litems are licensed attorneys that represent the best interests of the children. CASA workers are also, in the same aspect, representing the best interests of the children. Both are supposed to do the groundwork. They're supposed to go out, meet the parents.
Okay, do they do that in Illinois? Do they do that in do they do that in Illinois?
In Illinois, it depends on if you're talking about. Was your question about the CASA or is your question about the guardian ad litem?
I'm talking about both those individuals. In Illinois, are those two individuals, do they do the best interests of the child?
It's supposed to be, and so is the judge, but that doesn't.
No, the judge is bad too. The judge is bad because the judge is elected, and people don't look at judges being elected because they picked the wrong judge. My judge knew all about automobile claims, but did not know how to reunify a family. So I'm telling you, it's corrupt.
Too much money cannot reunify the Kansas family.
Well,
they write it down on paper as the goal is reunification, but definitely is not the goal.
Yeah. I've yet to hear anybody have a positive experience. I've yet to hear anybody have a positive experience from a CASA or guardian of litem or a court-appointed attorney. I've yet to hear anybody. I've had nobody on my show.
Well, I'll tell you this. My case has been up in 2 years. We've had a guardian ad litem appointed on the case, and he's met with my children for 5 minutes. And he thinks he knows what's in the best interest of my child.
Well, if you think that's great, you're the first.
And he actually ordered that my children go to my ex, who has warrants for the arrest and just tested positive for heroin, and has tested positive 13 times out of 15 drug screens.
All I know.
He ordered that was in the best interest because you know what? Here's the problem. When you have a guardian ad litem, he's actually a fucking attorney. And you know what? His docket is full. And he does not spend the time that he is needed to be on the case. And you know what? Here's the problem with CASA workers. CASA workers, their docket is full. They're overworked, they're underpaid, and undereducated. And they cannot make those educated decisions.
I agree.
And they don't get out there. They don't spend the time with the families to do the groundwork that they're supposed to be doing.
How would I answer Betty's question?
Betty's question as far as the guardian ad litems on her side?
I'll put it back up. I'll put it back up. Betty asked a very... Go ahead.
Betty has a golden ticket. Now, who is the other attorney that's in agreement? Is it her attorney? And what does the opposing attorney have to bring to the court?
Well, let me
alarm the judge.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I don't care what this guardian let them have to say, and I don't care what your attorney has to say. I'm going to want to investigate and look into this a little further because the opposing attorney has brought something to my attention that is of concern.
Question for you. Do you want to speak to Mr. Davis for 15 minutes? Private consultation.
I've already spoke to Mr. Davis. I just can't afford Mr. Davis.
Right. Well, how did that session go with Mr. Davis?
That session went that, he acknowledged that there's a problem with court-appointed attorneys. Court-appointed attorneys, unfortunately, when they don't do their job and you don't have the money to afford somebody like Mr. Davis, you're going to lose your fucking kid.
Now, how long did he talk to you? Did he give you 15 minutes or was it short?
He talked to me for an entire hour.
Okay. What I'm trying to tell you, and I'm telling all my listeners out there, when I offer 15 minutes, that's the bare minimum. But he does talk to people because he cares. And he isn't in this for money.
He cares, but
it isn't for money.
At the end of the day, he has to feed his family too. And at the end of the day, I'm losing my family.
Well, I've lost my family. I lost 4 of my 8. So, and I'm in financial ruins. I lost my home, and I'm trying to get work, but I think people hear about me and they don't want to hire me. I think also because of my age, I'm 75, they don't want to hire old people.
To answer Betty's question in the best way that I can, and not knowing what state you're in, or what the opposing party has to bring to the table, because
the question that she asked was in the state of Nebraska. She was in Nebraska. She's talking about Nebraska. She lives in Montana, but she's talking about Nebraska.
I still don't know the law. I mean, if it was Florida, Illinois.
Oh, I know. We don't.
Missouri,
We all don't. We have to look it up. We have to look it up. So when I say things, it's generally speaking, but every place is different. Just like Kentucky is really bad, and they are so different than California.
Betty, I would say, generally speaking, you don't have very much to worry about.
Let me get Betty on the phone then.
I would say if the children are being placed with the biological family that the guardian ad litem has agreed to, then clearly there's been some sort of investigation into the biological family that is A-okay. And the guardian ad litem, I'm telling you, having a guardian ad litem on your side is like a smoking gun. I mean, it's a golden ticket. At the end of the day, it's a golden ticket. The guardian ad litem is the non-biased party, like I said, who represents the best interest of the children. And because of that, the judge leans very heavily on what a guardian ad litem or a CASA worker says. It doesn't make it right. And that...
Well, it wasn't a golden ticket in California in my case. My wife was, everything she said was used against her. Everything she said was used against her. My wife hated the CASA. The CASA were very corrupt, as well as the judge. And the social...
Oh, yeah, they are corrupt.
It's like they go to golf together, they eat lunch together.
As much as corrupt as they can be, they still have a very good pull in the courtroom.
Well, we didn't use them, and so they weren't involved in the courtroom.
How did you go through a child dependency case without a guardian ad litem or CASA worker?
Because we told them we do not want them.
Well,
I also fired my public defender. I fired my public defender, and I hired Vincent Davis.
Look, I am trying to fire mine. I had told that fucker he is fired 3 times now, filed a complaint, a valid complaint, and showed documents to prove that complaint. And he still won't get off my case.
Well, you could take it up to the state. You could take it up to the Illinois state. And if that doesn't work, then you take it up with the federal government in Washington,
well,
D.C.
the appellate court appointed him in on the appeal. And I let them know. And apparently I'm not allowed to file into my own appeal because I'm not pro se. So I'm going to go 5, 6, maybe 12 months without a court date.
Oh, wow. Well, I do thank you for your input. Let me see what Betty has to say further. I'm going to get her back on, okay?
Betty, I wish you the best of luck, and it looks like the cards are in your favor.
Okay, let me get her on. She's off, so I have to hang up with you and bring her back.
Hello, this is Betty Joe.
Yeah, hi, Betty. This is Bob Pace, and I lost you. I got Kimberly from Illinois to step away so that you can explain more what they're doing in Nebraska with the guardian ad litem.
Okay, the guardian ad litem has petitioned the court, along with my brother's attorney has petitioned the court to have the baby placed with me. Now, is that up to the judge to make the final decision, or can the state overrule that?
No, the judge makes the final decision about any matters. The judge is what decides the children are returned or not returned. The judge makes decision whether your parental rights are terminated. The judge makes decision whether to accept the safety plan or not. The judge is where it all stops. The social workers can say a lot, but everything's got to be entered with witnesses. What's happening lately is a lot of hearsay. You can have all these documentations that shows you completed a course, where it is. You got to bring in the person that taught the course so that they can tell you that's done. The problem is people are being screwed right and left because you have to subpoena the witnesses because it's like hearsay in court.
Now, what happens, say, if one of the parents makes an allegation into DPHS office trying to stop placement by happening, and then the caseworker comes to the home, investigates the home, and it's false accusation or
How did the case worker get in the home? I'm sorry, what? How did the caseworker get in the home?
We allowed her to come into the home because she said that she had an allegation that she wanted to check on.
Okay. There is one of my rules that I say you do not answer the door. You don't answer the door, and you do not talk to social workers. You need to have your attorney present.
Okay, well, I don't have an attorney because I'm not part of the case. That's what they told me. I don't have an attorney, so if I wanted an attorney, I'd have to pay for one, and I can't afford an attorney.
I understand that, but for the time being, they're going to have to wait till you get your attorney aboard. It gives you some time to explore, to maybe find a attorney that would work pro bono. Or there's a family friend.
How hard that is to find.
I know it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. But I do know a lot of parents have gotten the wrong attorneys. They got a criminal attorney, spent $40,000 for nothing.
Correct. I understand that completely.
And it's very important when you word and you research the internet. It's the placement of words is a key thing. A lot of people don't realize that. But if you don't search the right way, you start off with the location, the city. And if it's a small city, you put a comma and put the next city that's big. Then you put the state. Then you put the 3 letters CPS. Then you ask your question. Pro bono family juvenile dependency lawyer. And you see what pops up.
The case as soon as she came to the door, she's like, I'm closing this case. So she went back to the office without coming into my home or anything like that. She just asked us a few questions at the door. And she's like, close case. She closed the case. There was no open.
Did you give it? Did she give it to you in writing?
Yes, she did.
Okay. So you have it in writing that the case is closed. Well, that worked out great for you. Then what happened?
It did. Then she sent it to Nebraska saying this case is closed.
Okay.
Then the baby was supposed to be placed with me before she came to the home because the judge granted the child to come to me. And then the next day, they had court hearings. But before that, mother made those allegations. So they closed that case down, saying, nope, the baby's not going to be placed with aunt until we can investigate this case. Still have not heard a word about where the baby's being placed.
You have no visitation?
I have no visitation. The caseworker told me I'm not allowed to have visitation because I am not mom and I am not biological father.
What do you mean you're not mom? Isn't that your child?
No, it's my brother's child. It's my niece.
I'm sorry, Betty. I'm so sorry. I can't remember. Okay, I understand. You have a brother that has a child that they took away. Yes, it always deals with immediate family and people that are outsiders, brothers, grandpas, grandmas, sisters, aunts and uncles and cousins. CPS won't talk to you. They talk to the biological parents first. Is that where that your brother went to go live in a treehouse in Nebraska, right?
Yes.
And that's when they took the child in because it was an appropriate home for the child.
Correct.
Okay. Now I remember. So they have now see, why did they get you involved in the first place? Why did they have paper? Why did they come to your house?
Because there was an allegation from mom to DPHS office saying that I was using drugs and I was selling drugs out of my home and my husband is a drug seeker and didn't even.
So why couldn't you just ignore her and not answer that about drugs?
Because it's not true. So we went and we did.
Well, I understand that, but see, you don't understand. They manipulate. They are very crafty at manipulating you. They're the worst people. They will really manipulate you bad.
So she believed us. She's like, yeah, okay, we're closing this case. I don't see this is a true finding. I don't believe this. We're closing the case. And she wrote right on the paperwork while we were standing there talking to her, closed case.
Okay.
No findings.
All right. Well, that worked out good. But then why can't you give that to your brother's attorney?
We did.
And what did your brother's attorney do? What did your brother's attorney do with it?
He is going to mention in January for the court hearing there that those allegations were false.
Now, did they subpoena the caseworker in there to validate that?
Yes, they did.
Because when you enter a piece of document, you have to have the person that author that document in court, or otherwise it's called hearsay.
Right. The caseworker is there. She has a copy of the paperwork from Montana, and it was faxed to her saying that it's a closed case. There's no finding.
So what did the judge say when he heard that the case was closed against you and your husband?
We haven't visited that. They haven't visited that since then.
Well, why did your brother not tell his attorney to bring that up?
Because it hasn't been brought up yet. The court hearing hasn't been brought up yet.
Okay, well, that's one of the first things you got to bring up at court. Your brother has to sit there and bring that up.
Well, my brother's attorney called me on Thursday and asked me if I would testify in court of law. I'm like, well, do I have to be in person or can I do it by Zoom or how can I do this? He goes, you can do it by Zoom, that's fine. And I said, okay. So I called the courts after I hung up with them and I told them I am being subpoenaed to court, I guess. And she's like, no, you're not being subpoenaed. You're just being in question. If you can present yourself by Zoom, great. I said, okay, I'll be there on Zoom.
Okay.
He told me that he's going to ask me questions about the case from day one, what happened with my niece being born all the way until now. So I have written a little short essay of what I'm telling the judge of how things have happened. From day one, my brother got arrested. The baby went into placement. From placement, I went down and I visited her for 2 weeks. You guys granted her with me in July because of allegations that she wasn't placed with me. I have paperwork. The caseworker has paperwork. My brother's attorney has paperwork stating this case has been closed. Why is she not being placed with me? I had visitations while I was there. All visitations went well. They were all supervised. None of them went sour. All of them were a positive outlook for the child.
Okay.
Because the guardian ad litem told me in the beginning that I lost connection with my niece. I don't have a bond with her. How can you lose a bond with a child that you raised for 45 days of her life before they left to go to Nebraska when she was 3 months old? That's half of her life. That's more than half of her life that she was with me. And my brother will stand up on the stand and he's going to tell them the truth also and said, yes, I was part of her life for 45 days of her life. I took her to her doctor's appointments. I took her to her WIC appointments. And I'm hoping the judge is going to say, yes, we're going to grant you the child. We already granted her with you before, but Mom decided to run her mouth to the DHS office on these allegations against me, and then it's closed. I don't know why the judge wouldn't place the child with me anyway. It doesn't make any sense. I think they're just wanting to keep her as a traffic child.
Well, they want to keep the child in the foster system because they continue to make money from the state.
They do, 100%.
Right. So they're not going to sit there and try and make it easy for you or for anybody else.
And I've talked to my brother's attorney all the time, and he's a good attorney. He's a juvenile attorney. And I've asked him, I'm like, hey, can I ask you questions? And he's like, as long as your brother's okay with you talking to me, that's fine. So my brother called his attorney and told him it's okay to talk to me about the case, what's going on. So I asked him, I said, so with the guardian ad litem or the CASA worker, for the child, she is petitioning the child to be placed with me. What are you filing with the court? Because you said you were filing paperwork. What are you filing with the court to back this up? Are you backing this up, or what is your plan? He goes, my plan is that I want the child to be placed with you. She was supposed to be placed with you in July. That went down because Mom ran her mouth and had false accusations against you. We have paperwork stating that these are false. And I said, yes, those are false. And I said, you have the paperwork, correct, that I emailed you? He goes, yes, I have them. Thank you. And then I emailed it to the caseworker at the same time, and she called me back, and she goes, I already have this paperwork. Thank you for sending it in anyway.
Okay.
So he's petitioning the judge to have her placed with me. The guardian ad litem and the child's attorney is petitioning the child to be placed with me.
Okay.
So I don't know where I sit. Do I have a chance of getting the child?
Well, first of all, you're not the biological mother of the father.
No, but both of their rights are being terminated. She's up for adoption in January.
And who is
I am an adoption family.
And who is the adoption family?
I'm hoping to be the adoption family because I am adoption family.
Okay. Have you petitioned the court to be a guardian of that child?
I have not, because I don't know what paperwork I need to fill out, because there's two things. There's conservatorship and there's guardianship. I don't know which one I need to file.
Well, what you need to do, and this is going to be done in Nebraska, right?
Yes.
Is this Lincoln, Nebraska? What city is this near?
It's in Fremont.
Okay, Fremont's a small city. What's the next biggest city to Fremont?
Let's see. Omaha.
Okay. When you type it, what you're going to do is you're going to type in Fremont, Omaha, Nebraska, CPS. And then you're going to say what is the difference between conservatory and guardianship? And you're going to find out which one of the two, but you're going to adopt a child. And if you're foster care, CPS will do the adoptions for you. You see, normally when you adopt a child, it takes years. You have to be vetted first, both by the federal and by the state. You have to be cleared. Then you got to give them a lot of money. You got to hire an attorney, and you got to petition an adoption. It takes sometimes 1 or 2 years. But if you're a foster parent working with a CPS, they'll automatically give you the kids if you're in good relationship with the CPS worker in Fremont.
Okay.
And going that way is quicker. You know, I don't mean to be cutting everybody short here, but I'm already gone over my time. I'm supposed to end the show at 8 o'clock. Right now, it's 8:17. I've gone 17 minutes over my show. And I know it's important. That's why I gave everybody time. But I want to thank you, Betty, for talking on the podcast. And Betty, you have talked to Mr. Davis, correct?
I have an appointment on
Good.
Tuesday.
Good. I hope it goes well. I want you to call me back and tell me how it goes. Now, all you guys that have called in, now I have the last person is called Amanda Shannon. I have no idea where you're from, Amanda, but welcome. And I invite you to come back to my podcast tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And thank you, Michelle Portner. I appreciate your support and help in the room. And Michelle Portner was on the show there. I want to thank Betty, who is from Montana, who has a case in Nebraska. Thank you for calling, and thank you for all your questions and being really helpful in the show. Also, I want to thank Kimberly from Illinois for calling in and what she had told me about things too. I appreciate that, Kimberly. So I want to thank you all. God bless you all. There will be a brief message from my attorney, Vincent Davis, when I leave. So do not give up. Keep fighting for your kids. And this is Bob Pace signing off.
Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Faith, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.